Good morning, Pastor Mike, Ascension Lutheran Church, Wichita, Kansas. Just a quick reminder that at Common Ground tomorrow evening, we will have some Clydesdale horses from Cowskin Creek Clydesdales during our fun time, which begins at 6 o'clock or a little earlier than that. Everyone is invited. These are magnificent creatures. Yesterday was a federal day off. Not many people other than government workers and bankers actually get this day off. Most people probably didn't even notice it until they went to check their mail and found none. It was Columbus Day. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. I was taught that Cristobal Colon landed somewhere in the Caribbean, probably Hispaniola, and claimed the land for Spain. Even though Italian by birth, Cristoforo was financed by Spain, thus anything he discovered would be Spain's. Columbus was actually looking for a west route out of Spain to the Far East for trading purposes and ran into the North American continent. Once the other European countries found out about North America, it was a mad rush to claim the land for their country, be it France, Spain, England, or Denmark. Each of these countries claimed large swaths of land and the resources contained in them. Today, most school kids are not taught this history. Some textbook writers deem it colonial, insensitive, racist, not politically correct. I am not going to delve into that. But it does remind me of what I learned in a history of history class that I had to take for my doctorate. One of the main points of a book I had to read titled Historiography, Ancient, Medieval, and Modern, sounds like an interesting book, doesn't it? Is that the victors get to write the history. The ones in power get to put their bias on events. If Egypt had not conquered the southern Mediterranean, do you think we would have all the documents and hieroglyphs about Egypt? If Sparta and Greece hadn't been so victorious, would we have all the military records and battle history from Herodotus' account of the battles with the Persian to Plutarch's accounts of Alexander the Great? If Rome hadn't been so powerful, would we have Cicero, Pliny, Ovid, and other records of the exploits and court intrigues of the Caesars? Were there people and life happening in North America before Christopher Columbus? Of course. It just so happens that at that moment in history, the European continent was the dominant force in the Western world. That's the way history works. Which brings me to another history that is being written. It began at the start of time and is still being written today. This history is the history of the world. Some people call it salvation history, or in German Heilsgeschichte. The history God is writing with this tiny planet and its people being the main topic. The ultimate history of the planet Earth. The earth is Yahweh's and everything in it, the world and all who live in it, says Psalms 24:1. There may be many subplots going on in different parts of the world depending on who was wielding power at the time. But the ultimate history, the only history that really counts, is being written by the ultimate power, God. God knows the past, the present, and is the only one who knows the future. He knows what has happened, what is happening, and is going to happen. He can direct history to make it come out the way He wants. He can even take the bad things that humans have done and use it for His purpose. God may or may not allow us to know why certain events happen, what His purpose is, to what end He is working, why He is allowing some bad actors to create a virus and release it into the world. We cannot discern that or pretend to know the mind of God. And if someone says they absolutely know, my advice is to run quickly. But even in this history, God can use it, perhaps to teach, perhaps to bring people closer to Him, perhaps to rediscover the ultimate victory we have in Him. If the victors get to write the history, then Jesus gets to write the history of the earth. Jesus has defeated all enemies, even the enemy of death. Satan cannot stand against Jesus. Satan has chained him in the abyss. Satan cannot forcibly take the gift of faith away from anyone. Satan is a pathetic, defeated enemy. And the history Jesus will write is one of a new heaven and a new earth, restored to the glory, innocence, and purity of Eden. Jesus has conquered all enemies, and you and I are welcomed into His victorious, eternal kingdom to enjoy the gifts of living under His gracious, benevolent reign. Do you believe this? May your day be blessed so that you can be a blessing to others.